Aladdin, I take it all back. If you were what it took for Guy Ritchie to make this, then thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. The Gentleman is a British crime film directed by Guy Ritchie. Now the first question you might have is, how do I know that this is a British film? Well, dear viewer, the answer is quite simple. There's a pint, and this fella here is wearing an English cap. However, I truly can't be sure, as there is no tea in the trailer. Can I just say, this film was a bloody surprise. I mean, Guy Ritchie's film career this past decade has been less than stellar. It's not been completely awful, but there's better drinks out there than beer. In one line, The Gentleman is an interesting story told in an interesting way. It's doing that thing where two characters are telling you a story that's already happened. This usually shits on the tension, but this film transcends that problem by having a roundhouse kick of a cast. You only see these two fellas, so these five fellas could have anything happen to them. No spoilers for a minute, but I want to talk about how the film starts. Hugh Grant is here, and he's like, okay, time to start the movie. He tells the viewer to imagine the film in 35mm, and then the film does us a favour and gets some film grain. Then he goes on about old films, but wait, not that old. I'm talking 2.35:1, and whilst he's doing that, the aspect ratio is flexing to fit what he's saying. At this point, I'm instantly hooked. It was a super simple trick, but I'd be lying if I told you that it didn't grab my attention. You know what? That line encompasses the movie. It's a fundamentally simple movie, but it's done in an interesting way and kept my attention the whole way through. Basically, this dude wants to sell his business and retire, and this dude is on a super strict budget. And then there's this fella who's like, I'll buy your business in exchange for not putting a bullet between your eyes. Pretty simple crime stuff, but since this is a British film, everybody is very polite about the whole ordeal, and I'm just kidding, there's plenty of action here. I'm going to get back to some of these points in the spoiler section, so stay tuned for that. But before that, let's talk about some of the stuff I didn't like. The OST was forgettable, as in I can't remember it. To be fair, I had the music from Jojo Rabbit looping in my head from the day before, but if you're looking for decent music here, the only place you're going to find it is in the licensed songs. The telling of the story also works both ways. Whilst I found it interesting, I did find myself getting lost with events, but it wasn't enough to pull me out of the film. But the worst thing in this film? Oh, I'll tell you. These cheeky wankers call themselves gentlemen, but not once in this film does anybody hold the door open for someone who's just a little too far away, and then they have to do that little jog. You may think this isn't a big deal, but you can fuck off. This is a British film, and they have the balls to not include the fabric of our dear society. I am flabbergasted and out. Almost spit out my tea there. Let's get back to that bit where I was talking about Hugh Grant talking about the film that we're also talking about, except he's talking about the film in the film and I'm talking about the film 2 weeks after seeing the film because I'm a lazy git. I want to talk about a certain action scene, this one to be specific. This is one of those moments where I think that the method the story is being told serves the film really well. Hugh Grant tells us about this amazing action scene Cooper came up with in his head, and we see it play out as a scene. Then King Arthur comes in and calls bullshit, and the scene rewinds and we see how it really played out. A lot of the film up until this point has been talking, and this was a really creative way to throw some action in and show us how our protagonist thinks. The film has a few minutes that completely brought me out of the experience though. There's a bit where these guys find the weed and fight some dudes. However, they're also aspiring filmmakers and musicians, so they record it and turn it into a rap music video that goes on for one rap music video too long. These few minutes grabbed me and pulled me out of the experience so hard I'm pretty sure my soul detached from my body for a second. Overall, however, this didn't sour the experience for me, and by the end everything wrapped up nicely and we're all left with a very satisfying ending. So where does this film fit? It's not the sort of thing that you absolutely must see on the big screen, but it's not awful either. It's actually quite good. If you've been itching for more of this, The Gentleman might scratch that itch. If you're looking for a fun time at the cinema, this won't hurt, but right now it's up against some of the stiffest competition I've ever seen. However, in a few months, when the home video release hits, this will definitely make a decent choice for movie night. Either way, I can assure you that this film is worth your time. If you're itching to go to the movies and feel like you're out of options, The Gentleman will treat you nicely. How's the new mic? We're on an XLR now, so it means that I can come in really nice and close and speak to you like this. New reviews will be every Friday. Make sure to subscribe for those. Thank you for watching.